Welcome everybody back to our Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I am here to tell you all today that sometimes the game is not always fair. No, indeed, sometimes it's rather harsh, honestly. For example, in our level here today, Blast and Bounce, I have died a shameless amount of times and wasted several hours of recording to get some halfway decent footage out, and I still have to edit it a lot. And we're just going to ignore the very existence of our Einstein pig there and get started. In order to get that puzzle piece, it is imperative that you have Diddy Kong. You basically cannot get it otherwise, and I wasted nearly 50 lives being convinced of that fact. You'd think I'd learn earlier, but no such luck there. I won't say it's the game's fault, because in all honesty, this is my more favorite one of the temple levels. I actually really enjoy it. It is quite more difficult than any of the others, based on how close you have to be. As you can tell, I missed that, so I'm gonna cut back to that eventually. They do play around with the back and forth of the foreground and background camera shots, which is nice. This part can get a little tricky, but made that out unscathed, which is nice. And this part coming up here bothered me the most for the longest period of time. When you get down here, you have to do it as he's on his way to where you're trying to shoot, if that makes any sense. It used to be to a point where I could not time that precisely enough at all. And here, yeah, it's pretty evident that you'd have to shoot above, but just in case. We're getting pretty close to the end here, so I'm going to perform a magic trick. And I'm going to shoot all the way back to the other puzzle piece. Uh-oh, we lost Diddy along the way, but that's okay. Now let's go right back. Okay, we're good. I'm sorry, but not to hammer the point home or anything, but the footage I recorded was easily an hour and a half, and a lot of it was failure, so I don't know what it is when I'm recording, or if it's the lag I get from the software, or what it is, but it just makes it a lot more difficult for me to play for whatever reason, so not worrying about the God-forsaken forest level anymore. As I said, I remember mentioning in the last segment of temple levels that the first four were actually, all things considered, relatively easy. And it is the last four that will provide the most trouble. Yeah. How many times have we had trouble with lava rising levels? With really just lava in general, it's been just a nightmare to deal with. All the precision jumping, I don't know if it's necessarily taken me the whole time I've been LPing this game or what, but it feels like I finally figured out one of the downfalls of this game, and there aren't a lot, because I've gone on record as saying that I really do enjoy this game. I like it a lot. Yeah, by the way, get ready to find a bunch of hidden puzzle pieces. That was, of course, the first one. The fourth and fifth one up above here, and the third one, actually. All of the rest of them are not easily found, so anything that isn't etched little cove, just like this one. Sneak right in, grab a piece, and we're out. Didn't even mention those lightning bugs, or whatever they are. We'll see them again, don't worry. But for whatever it's worth, I've always thought that the controls for this game are not the tightest they could be. They're very challenging, I say. It's not necessarily a deal where the controls are bad, because what's interesting is if you have Diddy Kong with a jetpack on your back, then the control scheme is actually pretty easy. Because that gives you some leverage to float over to an area you couldn't otherwise get to. But when you're just Donkey Kong, especially, of course, in the last level, but pretty much any level, it's just difficult. Very, very difficult to control. But I will not let difficult controls get the best of me. Next one is actually kind of fun, in all honesty. If anything, I'd probably say it is the most fun out of... definitely of the temple levels. I'm blanking on a few of the first ones, so that speaks a lot for their staying power, but here we're going along a track. I believe the title of the course from the first Donkey Kong game that this one is similar to is Trick, Track, Trek, or something like that. I like it a lot. Again, I have a fondness for the machine/factory themed levels and that kind of thing. I just think they're cool in the level design, especially for the ones... shoot. Don't worry, I've got the power of editing! See? That didn't take long at all now, did it? Don't worry, we'll be employing the technique again much more later. An interesting, important thing to note, too, there are certain sort of things sticking out like that. The crystal jagged on top, yeah, those are the ones you can duck underneath, but as you can see, these underneath that have no visible way to duck underneath them, a little less so. And yeah, that's always a frustrating puzzle piece to try and get unscathed, but no, we're just gonna keep on going, and we're actually almost done here. Whoops, slide underneath there. See, that was an instance right there where it was absolutely, again, easier to have Diddy Kong. I admire greatly anybody who can complete all of these levels as just Donkey Kong. And I am chastened to mention it, but actually the helper, when you start failing too many times, I've actually... Anyways, he actually does it as just Donkey Kong. Of course, they don't actually get all the puzzle pieces or whatever, but... Now, finally, for the last... and... well, easiest is not the right word, as you'll see, because it's not entirely easy, but... the 5-monkey trial is one of the more interesting ones, in that it's literally 5 different trials you have to complete. Symbolic enough there. 5 different fruits. And the reason it's, if anything, easier is because there's no puzzle piece around here. Each of these trial rooms, or whatever, has their own puzzle piece. And the way you get it is by collecting the 5 designated banana coins here. And you'll see it in the 3rd room, why I call it designated banana coins. Yeah, and you even have to get the puzzle piece in order to get the barrel. This one looks like it's a lot harder than it is, but these falling guys eventually run out. And I apologize, I'm blanking on the name here. There, see? Now we can take our sweet time. Now here on the 3rd room is again where I say... it's not chasing you upwards, thankfully, but we do have to precisely jump off of each squid. Okay. And the reason we have to get these as the designated ones is because you can get 5 barrel coins off of jumping on the squids consistently, no problem. But that won't give it to you. This room has the potential to be the most annoying one. But you could probably guess the most annoying one is easily going to be the last room. Like, it's really bad. Almost slid off there. Glad I didn't. Yeah, it's clever design, too, because when you're rotating that certain way, the purple trimmers actually go faster. Now here is where it's nearly required to have Diddy Kong, because otherwise the jumping here is way too precise. I mean, if you'll notice, most of the time I'm going from left to right, and there are a couple times when they're fired at both that you can maneuver between them, but it's much easier to... Don't worry, it'll come back around. It's much easier to have that availability, or now I'm kind of screwed, but I'll do my best to not be, so we'll see. This is... okay, the last one. So like I said, not the most difficult, but it is definitely interesting for the idea of the level, I say. And now we have all 8 orbs. What will that do? Well, you'll see in the very last segment, which... very sad, because that's actually approaching soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but I'll find out. Next segment, though, we'll be taking on the final boss, for the most part. Tiki Tong Terror. Until then, guys, see you later.